Today on Ask This Old House.
This bookshelf is a great first-time woodworker's project, and we'll show you how to build it. So what I thought that we could do is we could show you how to build this bookcase using simple tools, a circular saw, a drill driver, and a couple of hand tools.
Simple but elegant. I'm all in. Let's go.
All right.
I want something new. I kind of want to rip everything out and start fresh.
That's what most homeowners think you need to do, but you don't really need to do that. The front of this house needs a lot of work, but I'll transform it by using what's here and adding some inexpensive plants.
It's truly amazing. You did an amazing job.
That's next on Ask This Old House. Hi there, I'm Kevin O'Connor, and welcome back to Ask This Old House. We got a great show for you today. The gang is all here. We got a bunch of good stories for you. Hey, Tommy, where are you off to?
I'm actually off to the home center. I want to pick up some material for you and I to do a project.
Projects together, I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, here, Roger. What's the landscaping story today?
Jen Nuada is working on a project where she's buying a few inexpensive plants, but recycling a whole bunch of plants on site to give a homeowner a whole new look.
Can't wait. Sounds good. Richard, man in the inbox again?
Yeah, just tweeting away over here.
Good. Someone's got to keep up on the social. Hey, Scott, how are you?
Hey, Kevin.
What are you working on?
Remember last year I did a closet lighting segment where we had motion-activated light switches inside?
Yeah, she wanted the closet lit up with a motion detector, right? Was it a switch?
That's right. So it was a lot of work. We had to bring a wire from constant power in the attic all the way down to the switch, back up to the light. It was tough and old work.
You were fishing a lot of wires.
Well, look what I found in the supply house. Just in a short year, look what came out. It's an LED light, and it has a built-in motion detector.
All in one?
Yeah, it's still hardwired. You just bring power to it. Does everything.
You're always bringing us something new.
Yeah, we try.
Hi, Jamie.
Hey, Jen, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
It's so nice to meet you. Thanks for coming today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I love your house.
absolutely. Oh, thank you so much. It's old. It's from 1890. It's an antique colonial, and we actually just moved in a couple of months ago. We've done a lot of work on the inside of the house, but now that the weather's nicer, we are looking at the outside and need some help. I'm definitely a little bit concerned about the overgrowth. I want something new. I kind of want to rip everything out and start fresh.
That's what most homeowners think you need to do, but you don't really need to do that. You have a lot of beautiful gems and plants in here. You have this beautiful hydrangea tree. It's probably like
beautiful.
40, 50 years old. Just we need to prune out this dead wood,
Yeah.
bring it back to life, and then you go down here to these hostas. Beautiful ground cover. We could thin them out, push them back, and transplant them around the yard. This shrub right here is an azalea. It's seen better days. It's not really worth saving. I really think by adding 4 or 5 new shrubs, a couple $100 of material, but really utilizing and saving what you have here, like the hosta, and pruning this up, you're gonna have a beautiful transformation.
All right, I'm sold.
Okay, so we have these 2 huge azaleas that we determined they're not really worth saving, so we're going to take them out. How we're going to start that process, we're going to take some twine, we'll cinch it up around the shrub so it gives us better access to the root ball, and then it'll make it easier to dig to take out. All right, so I'm going to hand this around to you, Jamie. Okay, and we'll just pull it as we go. Nice. So we keep it kind of taut to pull it together, right?
Okay, yep.
Now we're just going to take our shovels, try to get under this plant to cut the roots so we can pull the plant out.
Oh, there we go.
Nice. All right, I'm going again.
We get a good grip here.
I think we might be there, Jamie.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All
Feels
right,
pretty
so
good.
let's put the shovels down.
All right.
What we're going to do is tip it that way, and we're going to try to roll it out.
Okay. Where do you
So
want
come
me?
over here on this side.
Okay.
Watch out for these twigs. On count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Here, you hold it like there. I'm
All right.
gonna come around the other side.
Got it. And then I'll push.
Try. Woohoo! Awesome. Goodbye,
50-year-old azalea.
All right, you good?
Yeah.
Woo! Bring it in, girl. Okay, Jamie, let's take a look at the perennials you have here. We have some ferns and we have some hostas. They die back to the ground in the winter and they come back up in the spring, and when they come back, they multiply. So every 3 to 5 years, if you want to maintain the same look in your bed, you will want to cut them out and divide them. They're a little bit intertwined, so put your fingers in here like a comb, all right? And we're gonna separate, and then you figure out what your clump is gonna be. You could see it like a ponytail. You could pull it back like that.
Yep.
And then I'll make the first cut. So you could just go in. Honestly, you're not gonna hurt the plant. You might lose a few leaves, but you just go straight down and go all the way around the plant, right?
Yep. How far down do you go?
Probably like 6 inches. Depends on the plant.
Okay.
But in this case, probably 6 inches. So I'm just marking it up. Don't be afraid of cutting anything, because they will multiply, as you could see.
Yeah, they're pretty hardy, huh?
You can really feel it pop. It's going to come out of the hole. So then you hold it carefully with your shovel and tip it back. And there you have a nice little root ball. And then we are going to try to reuse and transplant as many of these as possible.
All right.
Okay?
Yep.
Just go straight up and down.
Yep.
Yep. Yep, you got it. All right, now let's get after this other azalea. Got in a few pieces, okay? Nice. Woohoo! So Jamie, here are all the new plants that we're putting in.
Wow, it looks great.
This one is called a red twig dogwood. Summertime has its leaf out, variegated leaf, and in the winter it drops its leaves, bright red twigs. It's
Beautiful.
so pretty. It'll look beautiful against your house. This one is called an oak leaf hydrangea, and see the shape of the oak leaf.
Yep.
Blooms all summer, and that fall color is also spectacular.
Beautiful.
The leaf will turn red and purple. Very, very beautiful. And this last one, to anchor the edge of each step, is a boxwood. Strong, hardy plant. All you have to do to this one is plant it and prune it once a year.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, we're gonna plant this boxwood. We're gonna go twice as wide, but not as deep, but deep enough for the root ball to go in.
Okay, sounds good.
So we get it closer to the hole, and I bring it out, and I place it in the hole, and then we're gonna check the depth to see if the plant is too low or too high.
Okay.
This looks a little bit low to me. I'm gonna have you grab a shovel and put a little more dirt in, okay?
Okay, yep.
And now go in there with your hand and flatten it out a little bit.
How's that?
That looks perfect. All right, let's check it. Well, I think that'll work.
Good.
All right, I'm just gonna tease the roots with my hand so the roots grow out into the soil, not around the plant.
Okay.
Just loosens them up. All right, let's backfill it. You could use your hand and we'll tuck it in. Just make sure there's no air pockets. Bring the soil around the plant. All right, this looks good. Why don't we move on to the next one?
All right. That good?
That's pretty good. For the hostas, we'll place them first to see if it works with the design, dig a shallow hole, and then install them.
Oh, I love that.
Ah, looks awesome.
Yeah.
And that same color over there.
How's that?
Perfect. So we're gonna prune this up. It's been neglected for quite a while, but it doesn't look that bad. So what you want to do is look for the dead branches to clean it and lift it up.
How do you know it's a dead branch?
Well, one sign is that there's no leaves on it, but if you're not sure and they have a few sprouts on it, you could always do the scratch test. So you take your pruners and do a little slice like that and see how it's not green.
Right.
If it was alive, it'd be green.
Got it.
So you could test that out with going to a live branch, and you go like this on it and see it's green.
Yep.
So if you're in question, you can just take your fingernail or your pruners and do a little scratch.
Oh, that's good.
So what you want to do is follow the branch back to the crotch or where it V's off and just give it a nice clean cut. And this looks like it's been pruned before, but they left a little nub, so I'm just going to take that back.
Okay.
All these little pieces you could just take off so the plant can use the energy to what's alive.
A lot of dead wood in here.
For the really big ones, I use the pruning saw. Almost there. Oop. Then we're going to put leaf mulch down about 2 inches thick, but keeping it away from the stems. All right, give everything a good soaking. So all the plants are in. What do you think?
It's truly amazing. You did an amazing job.
So my only instructions to you is to water every day for the next 2 weeks, and then for the next 2 months, keep it moist. That'll really promote healthy growth.
All right, I can do that.
Wow, what a transformation. That looked great.
And I love that you saved some plants. You recycled them, even though they were 5, 10, 20 years old, maybe.
Yeah, although we didn't recycle everything. I mean, those azaleas, they were 40 years old. They couldn't be saved?
Well, if you kept on top of pruning them every year, just give them a little shaping, it helps keep them intact.
But if you let them go, you can lose the plant.
Absolutely.
That's too bad.
They'll grow.
Yeah. Well, I do love that little trick, though, about nicking the bark to see if it's green underneath. That was a genius.
The scratch test?
Yeah, that was great.
Any time of year, you could do it. Winter, summer, fall.
Wait, in the winter, when there is no leaves on the tree, it's still going to be green underneath?
Yes. And so if you're unsure if it's dead or not, just use your fingernail or pruner and scratch it back.
Very cool.
And you practice my golden rule, the right plant in the right place.
Right, because you really have to determine the amount of sunlight, what zone you're in, what climate zone you're in, and how tall, wide, the shape of the plant.
Because when you get it right, it looks terrific. That was a nice job.
Great
Thanks.
job.
Awesome.
All right, Tommy, what are we thinking about building today?
Well, take a look right here. I actually found this here. This is a bookcase that you can get at the big box store.
Okay.
All right, now, this one is actually made out of particle board, 3/4 of an inch thick, and it's wrapped in a laminate to make it look like wood.
Got it.
The back is 1/4 inch cardboard.
Okay, so I like the dimensions. I mean, it's a good size for a bedroom. I think I've got something this size in one of my kids' rooms. I'm not thrilled about particle board, and I suspect you probably aren't either.
I'm not thrilled with particle board. It can sag over time, and I really don't like the cardboard back. So I thought we would build it out of this material right here.
Look at this. What am I looking at? Are these stair treads?
These are stair treads, and I got them at the home center.
Nice.
Now, these are 5/4 stock. They're
Okay.
made of pine. So you can look here. They're actually made up of individual pieces of wood. So you don't see those boards on the surface here. They've covered it with a veneer on the top and the bottom.
Nice. All right, so I like the fact that you beefed up the dimensions. I mean, 5/4, that's a nice
5/4.
beefy piece of wood, but why the stair tread? I mean, they come with the bull nose. Are you
Right.
planning on using this, or are we going to have to rip this off?
I actually want to use it. I'm going to use it so we don't have to use a router. That will give me a nice finished edge on the face and really dress it up.
Clever. So you're making this as simple as possible. Use as few tools as we can.
Exactly right. So what I thought that we could do is we could show you how to build this bookcase using simple tools, a circular saw, a drill driver, and a couple of hand tools.
Simple but elegant. I'm all in. Let's go.
All right.
Tommy, the treads come in 48-inch length, and we're going to use them for the sides. So you want to make this bookcase 40 inches high, or do you want to cut these down?
No, we're going to leave them at 48 inches. That means we have to make 2 less cuts. Okay. Now if we take the piece that's going to be used for the top and place it on top of the sides, keeping it flush or even with the back.
Yes.
All right. Now when you look at this joint out front, it really is an ugly joint.
Yeah, that's no good.
All right, so what I need to do is slide it back 3/4 of an inch. Now when you look at it, it's much nicer.
So we've got to what, rip these sides?
I want to rip the sides 3/4 of an inch.
Okay.
Now we'll take this board and slide it down, use it like a shelf, hold it even on the back, and we end up with the same problem right here, an ugly joint. What I want to do is I want to slide this back 1/2 inch.
Okay.
But I also have to allow for the thickness of the back, which is 1/4 inch.
So 1/2 inch plus 1/4 is 3/4.
Correct.
So
That's
we've got
right.
to take 3/4 off of this, but another 3/4 so that they match the sides.
Right, so we'll take 1.5 inches off the shelf and 3/4 of an inch off each side. All right, for the back of our bookcase, we're going to use a piece of 1/4 inch Luan plywood.
So thin, but this is a lot beefier than a piece of cardboard that we saw in the sample.
A lot stronger. All right, so now think of this as one of the sides of our bookcase. We're going to fasten it, the back to the side like that, keeping it flush. We can nail into it, and that will be really strong.
Right, this thing's not going to rack if we've got the back on.
Right. But I don't want to see the end grain of the plywood right here with our finished side. So what we need to do is make a cut like this on each side. It's actually called a rabbit cut. By doing that, it lets us inset the plywood so that we can now fasten the plywood to our side with nails, but it also hides the end grain of the plywood. We don't see it.
So that rabbit cut is something that you might typically do with a router, but you've gotten rid of the router.
Right, we could do it with a router or a table saw, but I want to do it with the circular saw. My saw is set for the depth, and my straight edge is set for the width of my cut. I then move my straight edge out just a little to remove some of the waste. I remove the remaining part of the waste using my utility knife. For the top, the rabbit is not going to go the entire length. So I start and stop my saw in a little bit from each end. Then I clean up the waste on each end using my chisel. All right, now we're ready to start laying out for our shelves. So we have the inside facing us. Right. All right, and it's back to back. Now we're going to have a toe kick, so we're going to keep that even with the bottom. I'm going to run a line. Holding that into position, we'll take the shelf and put it against it, push it down firmly, and mark the top of the shelf. Okay. Now we're ready to mark for the second shelf up, and we want to make the distance between the top of the shelf and the bottom of the shelf 16 inches.
So no adjustable shelves. These are all going to be fixed?
Right. Now, if we did adjustable shelves, that's another whole step. We'd have to make a jig and drill some holes. All right, with the shelf on our 16-inch mark, I'm going to take my square, hold it on the side, slide it down till the shelf is square with the sides. I'm going to mark the top of our shelf and the bottom of our shelf. And we'll do the same thing for the next shelf up. Now that we know the locations for each one of our shelves, we can pre-drill holes for our fasteners. All right, now we're ready to start assembly. I want to pick the shelf up so it's even with the rabbit cut, keeping it on my lines, and drive a screw. I already know where the center of the shelf is because we pre-drilled holes.
So we use a nice trim head screw here, Tommy, so a very small hole to fill.
That's right. And they're 3 1/8 long, so they're really grabbing that end grain. Make it nice and strong. All right, now we're ready to put our toe kick in. We'll use a couple of scrap pieces of the step to put it down, hold it up, and we'll put a couple of screws in on each side. All right, good. Now let's stand it up for a minute here so you can see that our shelves are all on and our toe kick is into position.
Yeah, looks good.
Now the next thing is when I lay the top on top of the sides, I want to have an overhang on each end of about 3/4 of an inch. But what I don't like is this square edge right here on each side. It's kind of ugly. What we need to do is round that over to match the edges.
And no router.
No router. We're going to do that with a hand plane. Okay, now I've actually drawn 2 lines. One in the center of the tread right here to match the center of the nosing out here. I also drew a line right here, the distance to match the distance from the front of the nosing back to the edge. I'm now going to take my plane and work my way down to the lines, but curving it as I go. Now we'll just nail the back on using some 5-penny box nails. All right, let's see how it looks.
Oh, I'm liking the look of that, Tommy. That is pretty sweet.
There you go. Now all we need to do is sand it, prime it, fill all the holes, and put a nice finished coat of paint on it.
Not bad. 2 power tools, a couple hand tools, and then in terms of materials, what are we talking?
We're looking at about $100, and that's not bad for a solid wood cabinet.
Not bad at
Wow,
all.
that is spectacular.
A new bookcase for all your plumbing books.
I still know how to read.
I do woodworking, you know,
Yeah?
with a chainsaw.
Yeah, I've seen your woodworking.
Unbelievable.
They've called me the wood butcher on occasion.
They sure have.
We have plenty more projects to come, and we're still taking questions, so keep your letters and your emails coming. Until next time, I'm Kevin O'Connor.
I'm Richard Thewett.
I'm Roger Cook.
And I'm Tom Silver.
For Ask This Old House.
I could drill right through there, put a little
would,
pipe in
wouldn't you?
there.
You could drill
I could
through
heat it.
every
I
one
could
of
heat
them
it.
and destroy them all.
Next time on Ask This Old House.
These trees not only provide flower and shade, they give you edible fruit. We have a mix of apples and pears. We want to make sure we have cross-pollination here.
I'll show you everything you need to know about replacing your tank-type water heater. All right, you ready to put her in?
Yeah, let's do it.
And it's one of the most versatile tools you'll ever own. And I'll show you the key to great cuts with any circular saw.
Ask This Old House has much more to show you. To see entire episodes anytime, just go to video.pbs.org and like us on Facebook. This Old House magazine, the companion to the television series, provides advice from our experts that you've come to know. You can use your credit card to order 10 monthly issues for $10. Just call 1-800-221-5900.